No 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl.
I do.
This is your auntie talking to you. Take your old ass and get your old bitch out there that can love you old. You trying to hang out with these young bitches and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it.
So if you're wondering what this video is about today and who the heck Shannon Sharpe is, watch the next clip.
This is Shannon Sharpe, ex-football player, very popular podcast commentator, and he also has a problem. See, Shannon Sharpe was just accused of forcing someone to watch Netflix with him. If you don't know what that means, look in the comments. Now, to make matters worse for Shannon, that same person is suing him for $50 million. But it just keeps getting worse for Shannon Sharpe because the person that's suing him's lawyer, we're going to call the person that's suing him G. So G's lawyer's name is Tony Busby. That's not good, because Tony Busby is famously all about the dollars. For those of you that don't recognize the name, he's the same guy that sued Jay-Z, that sued Diddy for the same thing, making people watch Netflix with him. Now, suing Jay-Z and Diddy did not go well for Tony. In fact, Tony kind of ended up looking bad after that. But Tony's response was, so where the money at, Shannon? Shannon said, I got good news, I got bad news. Good news is, I got a client named G, she wants to sue you. Shannon said, then what's the bad news? Tony said, oh no, it's the same news. It's just good for me and bad for you. Now, I need you to listen closely. Tony having this conversation with Shannon happened before the news came to light. And celebrities obviously don't want this type of information to come out. True, not true, don't matter. You look bad, your dollars start to dwindle. So Tony basically telling Shannon, make us an offer and maybe everybody doesn't have to hear about this. Shannon did not make the right offer. Shannon allegedly offers $10 million. Clearly wasn't enough because Tony tells the world. G is suing Shannon Sharpe because he forced her to watch Netflix. And here's where things start to get wicked. Shannon Sharpe comes out and says, cap, almost immediately. And an all-out war begins. See, the battle of public opinion nowadays is almost as important as the legal battle itself. What you think about Shannon Sharpe matters. If everyone thinks he did it, his career's over. So now you're the jury, and now you start hearing facts. Tony tells you, by the way, everybody, there was a 30-year age gap. I just thought you should know. Girl was like 19, Shannon was around 50. Heads up. Shannon says, okay, well, first of all, Tony Busby trying to blackmail me. Heads up. Second of all, the relationship between me and G was consensual. Tony says, okay, but as soon as the relationship stopped being consensual and she says stop, you kept going. More specifically, Shannon would get verbally abusive. He knew where her house was. And while Shannon and G were watching Netflix together one time, she told him, look, you gotta stop. He did not stop. Shannon says lies. And by the way, her name is... He drops her real name, which I don't think you're supposed to do. She tried to file this lawsuit anonymously. Shannon said, anyway, here are the texts that she sent me and here are the texts that I sent her. He drops pages of texts that they sent between each other, basically trying to show that they had a consensual relationship and some of their Netflix watching was rough. Now, I'm not gonna get into the specifics of these messages, but boy, let me tell you, one of them read. Let me just tell you one. It said, hey, Shannon, you know I charge $25K for each cheek. Shannon with it. He said, hell yeah. Matter of fact, let me tell you another one. It said, Shannon, put a... Boy, here, let me just write it in the notes app for you. Okay. Tony said, Shannon said, furthermore, I know you planning on releasing a video of me, so when you release the video, Tony, make sure you show the whole video. Because listen closely, Shannon Sharpe says Tony and Gabby have a video clip of Shannon looking pretty rough. But Shannon said, look, if you see the whole video, it's not going to be as bad as it seems. Tony says, or what if I release this? Tony releases an audio clip of Shannon and G having a conversation. And it's weird. It's basically G saying Shannon's trying to manipulate her and Shannon telling her not to use that word or he's going to choke her. But it's difficult because in court, Shannon's going to say, that's how we talk. That's how we play. She's going to say the opposite. Basically, everything you're going to hear is Shannon saying he was rough but consensual. G and Tony saying Shannon was rough, consensual, then not consensual. And if it's not consensual once, you'll face consequences. At least you should.
With that excellent overview of recent events, the next couple of clips I have for you show that Shannon was very much warned, but however, he chose to continue with his terrible choices.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them, all lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
I need to have another one of these.
Amen, amen.
Shit. I kind of get one here.
Right.
After that, I don't really kind of know where to go. Let me one more time.
Right.
We good now?
Because the people want to know, well, why would he get blackballed?
Yeah,
because
I was gonna ask you that.
Because in 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets. Something you wasn't supposed to be doing.
You will tell it.
The industry knew about Shannon Sharpe, which is why Monique said, stop messing with young girls, Shannon. And Cat Williams said, he's too scared to mess with white girls because they're going to ruin your career in a weekend, 2 weekends, and have you running down the street like Jonathan Majors. But what does Shannon say? He don't give a damn. He gonna keep doing it. So his career is ruined within 2 weekends. All the support, love, and expectation he got within his own culture and community is gone because he wants to mess with young white women. And it had to be well known because it's just too specific. And hindsight is 2020. How long are we gonna keep calling Monique and Cat Williams crazy? It was like we didn't realize that he was blasting Shannon the whole time that he was blasting everybody. And if you go back and watch the interview, I'm noticing how uncomfortable Shannon was, and he was shifting in his seat and moving around, and it's because he was talking about you. So now you running down the street like Jonathan Majors. No one learns their lesson ever.
How about date your age? Date your age. Well, I want to date my wage. I'm finna shut all this ish down tonight. I want to date my wage.
Stay right there.
Where y'all at? Hey, chat, where they at?
Hold on. Cause you know I keep it on me now.
Yeah.
I keep it on me. You want to date your what?
I want to date my wage, not my age. I want to date my wage. So where are they? Cause y'all always talking about date your age, date your age. I want to date my wage. So come on with it.
Well, you talking?
As a matter of fact, I'm taking applicants as we speak.
Well, you talking spicy tonight, boy.
So not only did Shannon insist on dating young, he chose to prey on a teenager. He was 54 when he started dating his accuser, who was only 19. Honestly, it makes you wonder what some men mean and how low they'll go when they say, quote unquote, their preference is young women.
Shannon Sharpe is equivalent to R. Kelly to me. Respectfully. And then some of y'all gonna say, nah, you reaching. Yeah, I may be reaching, but this is my opinion, bro. If you're 60 and you would have intercourse with a 19-year-old, I think you would sleep with somebody younger than that. I don't think it's nothing stopping you from sleeping with a 17 or a 16-year-old. That's just my personal opinion. I may be reaching. Some of y'all gonna say, D'Angelo, you reach. I get it, bro. I get why you think like that. But me personally, I feel like he would have intercourse with a child. Now, has he done it? Probably not. But I wouldn't have him around my kids. I'm just leave it at that. I'm 27. I'm 27. I know some of y'all gonna say, I thought you were about 40. I get it. But I'm 27. And bro, I don't see myself talking to a 19-year-old. What the hell I like talking to a 19-year-old, bro? Like, I just don't see that happening, bro. And this man, bro, he's R. Kelly to me. Y'all can say I'm reaching. I don't care. I look at him as a yeah. Oh yeah, and this ain't just for 60-year-olds. If you 40 and you talk to a 20-year-old, I think you'll sleep with a child, bro. That just, man, I know y'all gonna say I'm reaching, bro. But oh my God, that's just the way I think.
1,000%. That's why we have legal ages or age of consent now. Now. Because men in their 40s, 50s, 30s, we're trying to marry 9-year-olds. Old, dirty, washed up men would go seek children so that these little girls, they can mold them and manipulate them and shape them into becoming their wives. It's not if the age of consent was lower, they would be going lower. The age of consent was lower and they were going lower. Men in their 40s were marrying 9-year-olds. And I know people say it was a different time. It's not a different time. It's just different laws. It's not a different time. It's just different laws. Because I wholeheartedly believe, and this is a hill I am going to die on, any man or woman who has to say, but they're legal, would date a child. But they're legal. It's legal. Would date a child. There's still some states in this country that an old man can marry a 15-year-old with their parents' consent. If you need a permission slip from a child's parent to wed them, I don't know, it might be wrong. But then they'll say, but it's legal. But it's legal.
Yeah, I think we should raise the age of consent. I say 25. People say that's a little bit too drastic. It should be 21. I don't think it should be 18, because it's become clear to me that you guys will only be as morally good as the law tells you to be, in that once the law says something's okay, even though it's questionable, and you know that it's questionable being a 57-year-old man trying to have relations with a 19-year-old, you'll still take that chance because, you know, legally you're not doing anything wrong. And even if Shannon Sharpe is right and this is a racial witch hunt, which I don't doubt that it is, you still put yourself in this position trying to act younger than what you are. You're almost 60, man. And unfortunately, we know all too well that other parties will take advantage of the fact that there's already a bad image painted towards the black man. But you can't then co-opt that to get away with some dirty ass shit like being with someone that's 40 fucking years younger than you. And it's even worse because, like, this sort of behavior is condoned by people around you, which is why I know this is not an isolated event. This is not just a Shannon Sharpe issue. It's a cultural issue. I make like 50 videos all the time every month about how the homeboy, the enabler, is the reason why we still have this culture, this predatory culture out there. Always try to defend characters without actually thinking, like, this dude is having relationships with someone that was born in 2006 and he's almost 60. There is no other excuse, but the mere fact that you guys go straight to the excuses every single time lets me know that it's not just an isolated event, an isolated person. It is a cultural problem. It's a community problem. It's a specific demographic that is allowing each other to be predators, to do whatever they want, and to just look the other way. So yeah, I say raise that shit so we can have a little bit of protection on people who are legally adults but not developed adults yet from people like Shannon Sharpe who are literally pushing 60 and on the back end of their fucking life.
White men do it too. Y'all don't say nothing. What do you mean by that? Do you want to do what white men do even if it's wrong? Like, I don't want to assume. My hands are up. I'm not hitting nobody. I'm just asking. What do you mean by that? I talk about what Shannon Sharpe did. Y'all in my comments, Leonardo DiCaprio, they both wrong. I fear we haven't learned that two wrongs don't make a right. I fear if a white man is doing something that's wrong and a black man is doing something wrong, and I'm black and I'm talking to black people, y'all talk about what white people doing. What the fuck do that have to do with anything? And y'all have not seen every single one of my videos to be like, you don't say nothing. You don't know what the fuck I be talking about. So it's just, I don't want to assume. So y'all tell me why and what do you mean by that? White men do it, y'all don't say nothing. White men it's not illegal.
In my view, wrong is wrong regardless of race, gender, or if it's your favorite celebrity who's being a predator to a younger person. Now, Shannon Sharpe's age gap of 36, that age gap is older than his accuser was when they met. His accuser was only 19 at the time. So wrong is wrong in my opinion, regardless of your race, your gender, whether it's a favorite celebrity you have. Now, the other issue I'm going to highlight in the upcoming clips is there seems to be this discourse with people insinuating that had Shannon been married, this would have been preventable. Have a look at the clips.
If the age of consent was like 15, I can only imagine what this headline would have actually read with Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is the living proof of why as men, we need to put more emphasis on getting married. And I know he's spoken out plenty of times about failed relationships, his problems with his children because of his chase for success in the NFL. But if Shannon Sharpe was actually married, this would not have happened. Yes, I know married men get in trouble, but the likelihood of this happening drastically decreases. And then on another hand, 19?
This is a very, very messy situation. I don't know what's true and what's not true, but I have no idea why a 54-year-old man is dating a 19, 20-year-old. I know y'all like to be out here bragging about smashing these young things, but that's not a flex to me. You 54 years old, you should be laid up with your wife and kids, taking your cholesterol medicine, minding your damn business. We need discipline and stability. That's. And I ain't talking about just Shannon. I'm just talking about all of us in general. Men need discipline and stability. Find you one woman and settle your ass down, okay?
I agree with you, but it's not against the law.
Shannon Sharpe is the prime example of why your ass should be married. Yes, I said it. This man is 60 years old and he's playing with 20-year-old YT girls. And let's just ignore the fact that she is white. She's 20 years old. That 20-year-old don't want you. They want your pocket, sweetheart. You see why Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson are doing so great? They have mature women next to them, baby. They have been married for years and dedicated to their wives, and they don't have to worry about her running off nowhere, and they don't have to worry about no cheating allegations. They ain't got to worry about none of that shit. Hell, even Barack Obama had the right idea. Y'all be messing around with these little girls, and yes, they're little girls because you don't really mature until you hit 30, and your frontal lobe doesn't come in until you're 25. You think they want your ass? No, Shannon. You their granddaddy. And what do granddaddies give out? Candy and money. And now you're going to pay up. And not only are you going to pay up, Shannon, your endorsements are about to go bye-bye. That $100 million deal that you're supposed to have for a podcast that's supposed to come through, that shit's going to go bye-bye because nobody wants to touch you. And definitely don't want to touch you if you're a black man in the scandal. You ruined your whole career over some 20-year-old vajayjay. Congratulations, sir. You played yourself.
Now, I disagree with that stance about marriage somehow being a solution, because surely we know marriage does not stop anyone, man or woman, being or becoming a predator. In fact, sometimes marriage is a fantastic smokescreen and a great cover for many predators. History will confirm this to be true. Now, let's hear Shannon give his defense, as well as let's see what some other people have to say who think Shannon's accuser has set him up.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Buzbee, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Buzbee targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Buzbee want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about, and I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys.
Do you know Shay Shay?
Shay Shay? That's a setup.
You know Shannon Sharpe?
Yeah, that's a setup. That's all a setup.
You think it's a setup?
I think it's a setup, because think about it. He just announced $50 million, then all of a sudden, he got announced that he was making $100 million. He signed to a new $100 million contract.
About to or something.
About to.
Yeah.
And then right after that, he's being brought up on charges for $50 million, half the money that he was supposed to technically make. Sounds like a setup to me. Sorry, Shannon, he's gone.
You think he's gone?
Yeah, he's done.
You don't think he'll be back on ESPN?
Nah. It's a Walt Disney company. Walt Disney's not having that. They don't want that bad publicity. The Mouse don't love that.
The more he's sharing texts and what he's into, I mean, that's his personal business. But once you're making that public and you're in the public eye, I don't know. And ESPN, like you said, ESPN and Disney is involved. I don't know. I'm not saying he's gonna pay the girl, but he might want to rethink about exposing everything. The more he makes stuff public, I don't think it's gonna be in his benefit.
It's messy.
Yeah, it's very messy.
His video defending himself unfortunately still paints him as a predator because the age gap is the age gap. And unfortunately, whether he was set up or not is kind of irrelevant in my opinion. His accuser has stated allegedly expressed that the formerly consensual relationship became non-consensual, and there were periods or points where she would say no and he would not take no for an answer. Have a look at the upcoming clips.
But to me, I also believe where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's definitely smoke here.
There's smoke here for sure.
His reputation is damaged forever now. because of the evidence that was presented.
Right.
If you just stick to what Shannon Sharpe confirmed to, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't believe anything the woman says, which I think, most of the time you should. He was dating a 19-year-old OnlyFans girl when he was in his 50s.
Now he's trying to pull like, oh, they're trying to take down a black man. Were you thinking that when you were literally sleeping with a 19-year-old who was telling you to put a black baby, big black? Why is the black baby big?
I told it doesn't make sense. I clocked it. He didn't clock it the first time. The first time I heard that, I thought the same thing.
So to me, it's like, I also have a problem
with
just
race
even
play.
that. I don't do that race play bullshit.
We didn't make it about race. Shannon Sharpe did when he started going to find 19-year-old girls and training them how to degrade him racially in the bedroom. When he continued a relationship with somebody that was talking about she wanted his black baby gravy and wanted him to put a big black baby in her. And that's just the text messages that he released. So I know it's some more nasty, weirdo stuff in there beyond that. That's what he felt safe to show us. So we didn't make it about race. Shannon Sharpe, who clearly cannot stay erect unless he has white women yelling racial stuff at him, made it about race. And he released the text messages, so we have every right to talk about it. He put it out there for us.
That's their side, and that's Sharpe's side. And who knows where it goes from here?
I'm Dwight Thomas from Brooklyn, New York. And I just want to say that it's not looking good for Shannon Sharpe. And a part of talking about sexual encounters is consent. And if someone says that you should put a condom on before you engage, that's not giving you consent. I also want to say that it doesn't look good that he tried to settle for $10 million during mediation, the text messages where she says no means no, and the phone call where she says that he's trying to manipulate her. But I also think we need to talk about the fact that she's 19 and he was 54 when he met her. That's a huge issue. She's only 1 year removed from high school. What do you two have in common? Why is he talking to this young lady? And it's so easy for you to manipulate someone that young. So I just think ultimately it's not looking good for him. And based on the evidence that's come out, it just seems to be getting worse and worse. And I truly think that he's not going to win this fight.
Yeah, we will see. I mean, you made points there. You really did.
Who's it gonna be this time? Nicole Murphy? Nia Long? Tiffany Haddish on standby? Who's that black woman they usually roll out for PR rehab when that damage control siren starts to go off? We had Megan Good with Jonathan Majors, Nia Long with Jizzy's interview. Who remembers that? And before anybody starts screaming it was a setup, let's not pretend that he wasn't warned, okay? People, including Monique, sounded the alarm on his own podcast, but he didn't care, he didn't listen, he chose chaos. And yes, he's a grown man, but when you tied up with $1 million worth of deals with certain industries, you're expected to have a clean and moral resume when representing their brands. And this ain't the first time he was caught being greasy on social media. He's been having way too much slip-ups to be considered an accident or conspiracy. So to have a 90-year-old amateur model, I'm just being nice over here, to air out each other's laundry like a WhatsApp chat gone bad really shows me your lack of discernment, your poor judgment, and you're a huge liability. And I hope your agency doesn't find that Coretta and walk you through that mess. Be about it and deal with it.
Here's something that my mom taught me at an early age. When I started to become a person who was in the public eye, she said, Don, never mess with someone who has less to lose than you.
So in conclusion, Shannon made his bed and he must lie in it. He chose as a man in his 50s to date a woman who was 19, a teenager. That is predatory behavior. You cannot convince me otherwise. And if his accuser's allegations that the relationship became non-consensual are proven true, I hope she gets the justice she deserves. Being an OnlyFans creator is irrelevant. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know whether you agree or disagree about any of the views in this video and why. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.